I came late to the party on the first season of the HBO Max Original Series, The Flight Attendant. But holy crap, once I started, I was immediately sucked in and I couldn't get enough. It was quirky, but incredibly captivating with a unique storytelling style. Now, the second season is now arriving with the first 2 episodes dropping simultaneously. Is this one a must-watch? Cassie Bowden is living her best sober life in LA while moonlighting as a CIA asset in her spare time. But when an overseas assignment leads her to inadvertently witness a murder, she becomes entangled in another international intrigue. Kaley Cuoco returns as Cassie, and in the first season, she was consistently so drunk that she was an incredibly unreliable narrator. We get to see her go into this sort of mind palace where she would talk with a dead guy to try and figure out how he died, and by whose hands, since she woke up in bed with the dead dude and had blood all over her. Now this time Cassie is sober, but we still get to see her enter that mind palace sort of place. This time though, instead of having discussions with the dead guy, she's having some very entertaining conversations with her drinking and partying self. It is pretty funny as she has the internal battle of trying to maintain sobriety with the temptation to take a drink, especially as things in her world just go to crap. She's working as an asset for the CIA, but because she's so inquisitive and curious, she gets herself more involved than she's supposed to, which then intertwines her into an increasingly complex story. Kaley Cuoco is amazing in this role. I mean, she's got great comedic timing, but she's also able to use her dry, sarcastic wit for maximum effectiveness. And some of the best bits are her talking with herself in that mind palace. As the episodes went along, it got even more entertaining and dark at times, too. Zosia Mamet returns as Cassie's best friend Annie, and there are some scenes that are so cringily funny. Mamet captures flustered and uncomfortable really well, and makes those traits very sympathetic. And there's a key story element that involves Cassie and Annie, which I'm really glad the show decided to make. While I think it could have continued on in the previous path, this new revelation allows for a bunch more directions for the story to arc off into. Plus, it should help to make Annie more of an integral part of the story, rather than being just a side character. I also enjoyed the addition of a few new characters. While their purpose hasn't been totally revealed as of yet, they do create more mystery. Now, some may end up being misdirections, which if they are, I'm totally good with it. But even if they're not, the characters are entertaining, even for the very brief bits we get with them. 4 that immediately come to mind are Grace, Jenny, Esteban, and Gabrielle. Not everything about them is hidden from us, but there's enough that's obscured to create some good intrigue with them. Now, a couple of production elements that I really enjoyed in the first season continue to be employed this second go-round. Now, first, it's the music. I mean, it's got kind of a noir-ish beat to it, or maybe it's more of like this 60s feel. The music is something that you'd expect to hear in an older spy drama. It's got a driving beat, but also has this slight loungy type of aesthetic to it. And then there's the editing that also helps to reinforce the feelings that the music creates. The screen will be split into 2, 3, or sometimes even 6 different sections to showcase all of the action. Now, sometimes it's from different angles, other times it's the same scene, just time shifted a little bit by seconds to create a trailing sort of feeling. No matter how the show splits the screens though, it always creates more momentum for the story, giving an urgency to the narrative, but also retaining a bit of lighthearted feel to it. Now, the mystery in these first 2 episodes doesn't really waste any time before diving right in and getting us hooked. And there are several situations where Cassie is ill-advisedly tailing somebody in the hopes of getting some sort of answers in her own investigation. But with that, there's a larger conspiracy feeling that's just looming in the background. I'm very excited to see how this plays out and where the story takes us. Because it starts off so strongly, I'm really confident that the rest of the show is going to play out in a fun but engaging way. There's also the beginning of some mystery with Rosie Perez's character, Megan. Now, we get small sequences with her showing vague situations, but every time, they also appear to have some sort of danger attached. Each of these first 2 episodes go by really quickly, despite them each being about 45 minutes long. Now, the pacing is quick, but it's not rushed, and I felt like we got a ton of story development and even character development in this short time, but the show didn't fully reveal any character or situation to us, leaving a bunch of suspense left to come. I'm also really happy that T.R. Knight returns for the second season. He plays Cassie's brother, and he feels less overbearing in these initial episodes and more like a cheerleader for Cassie. I think he's a great addition to the cast, and I like how he softens Cassie. This season is going to have a sort of different release schedule. The first 2 episodes drop the first week, then another 2 drop the second week, followed by 1 episode each additional week until the finale on May 26th. Now, I'm not sure why HBO chose to do it this way and to roll it out, but I think if you're a fan of the show, you're going to be there to watch no matter how many episodes they release each week. So overall, the first 2 episodes of the second season of The Flight Attendant immediately grabbed hold of me with awesome music and editing that highlight a very mysterious and quirky story. Kaley Cuoco is awesome as Cassie, who is even more entertaining now that the character is sober, but struggling with her inner voices who don't approve of that sobriety. I'm so glad that Zosia Mamet is taking on a more prominent role, showcasing her awkward and dry wit. Plus, the timing between her and Cuoco is amazing, creating a very believable dynamic between the pair. The pace is quick without being rushed, creating a driving atmosphere where I constantly want to find out more. And I love how the mystery is building, but also that we've only brushed the surface of what's to come with the story. If you enjoyed the first season of this show, I think you'll get the same enjoyment out of this second season. It captures all of the awesomeness and somehow improves upon it, at least so far. There's sex, nudity, a ton of profanity, and some violence. I give episodes 1 and 2 of The Flight Attendant 4 out of 5 couches. Did you enjoy the first season of this? Who are you hoping to see more of in this second season? Let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this review, please give it a like. Also, don't forget to share and subscribe. I'm Chris. This is Movies and Munchies. Thanks for couching with me.